evening, comrades and friends. Today, on behalf of CITU, we will be discussing about the impact of privatization of railways. And on behalf of CITU, I want to reiterate our strong opposition to the privatization of railways in any form or through any route. I would also like to state that the CITU, with all its might, will try to involve the entire people. All the working class will make efforts to develop a strong movement against the privatization of railways and to develop a very strong fight against this. Railways, you all know, it is the lifeline of the country, it is the lifeline of our economy. And the government, the BJP government led by Prime Minister Modi, is not privatizing only the railways. It has taken a decision, probably you have seen in the package, it has reiterated that it is not the first time that they have announced. They have reiterated that all the public sector enterprises, whether they are private or whether they are in strategic sector or any other sector, whether they are profit making or loss making, they are going to privatize all the public sector. In the strategic sectors, to be notified later, they will allow 1 to 4 maximum. So more or less there will be 1 or 2 like that in the strategic sectors. So the public sector, the wealth of our country, that the government wants to privatize and hand it over to the corporates, both national, domestic and also multinational. In the coal sector, we have seen they want to allow commercial mining. They have decided, they have passed the law. And similarly, defense, they have allowed 100% FDI in defense production, etc. They are going to corporatize the defense production units. Similarly, railways, they have announced, electricity bill, and all these things they are going to privatize. And railways, it is not just any other public sector. It is all the public sectors are of course our wealth, and it is the property of the nation. They have impact on the people and all the concerned employees, on our economy, etc. But with the railways, it is having a very wide impact on the entire economy, on our people, on the employees. So this is something which is directly connected with the people, where particularly the common people, the poor people and the working class, the vendors and so many other sections of the people are also involved. It directly impacts the people's lives. And similarly, there are such other sectors like electricity also. The people are consumers, the peasants are consumers, and this also privatization means it is not working for the people. Private corporates, private companies, they work for their profits. It is not to serve the people. So this in the private, if it is privatized for the profit of the private companies, naturally the prices will rise, and that will impact all the people along with the workers also. So this is one of the reasons why we are opposing that, and it is all the more heinous in this period during the lockout, when the people are not able to come out in large numbers and express their opposition to that. The government has chosen to take these drastic measures. It is not only the privatization is there, along with that the labor law amendments and the land changes in the land, peasant farming, etc., land ownership, etc. So they, in one hand, if we see all these together, what the government is doing is to disempower the people and to sell the country to domestic and foreign multinationals and empower them, entitle them. All the entitlements of the people will be removed, and the big corporates, the super rich, they will be empowered to loot the nation, to loot our natural resources, our land, our rivers, our waters, our forests, etc., and also exploit our workers to maximize their profit. So this is actually which is very much heinous in this period when the people are not able to come out and register the opposition. The government is resorting to such practices. Then what is the reason given? Why are they privatizing? There are different arguments. They say that the effectiveness will improve, there will be more efficiency, private companies will run trains more effectively and punctually, etc., etc. They are talking about world-class facilities in the railways, providing passengers with world-class facilities in railways, and similarly employment generation, and then about the loss making, because so many thousands of crores of rupees are being spent and we are not earning enough income. So all these things are there. But what is the experience worldwide? Even railway, we cannot say that railways will run, or any for that matter, any transport will run on profits, particularly road transport and rail transport. It is the responsibility of the government to provide affordable transport for the common people, for the workers who are going from one place to another. Recently we have seen how when the railways were stopped, the migrant workers were made to suffer and they had to walk on the streets and many people have died. It's not only this, but the food grains, the freight, all the essential things for manufacture or for the people, all these things are transported by the railways, and in this way they form an important component of the Indian economy on a broader scale. So it is not just whether by passenger freight you are making profits or not, whether by carrying goods you are making profits or not. What is the contribution of Indian Railways to the entire economy in helping our industry, in helping our agriculture, in helping the food security of the people, transmitting all these things, transporting all these things from one place to another. So when you take it as a whole, definitely railways are contributing considerably to our economy, and it is a lifeline of our economy, and we can't see whether it is profitable or loss making. It cannot be judged on that basis. And the experience of different countries under the neoliberal era, different countries have tried to privatize railways. Ours is not the first country. In UK, where there was a very good public transport system, they had privatized that, and after that it became so bad. The trains were not running on time. There were a lot of accidents. People were saying that traveling by British Rail means you are going to hell. To such an extent it became bad. And then after a lot of pressure from the people, they had to nationalize a part of British Railways, and during the elections before some time back, the Labour Party took up the issue of renationalization of the railways, which received massive support from the people. Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party, they have said, at that time Jeremy Corbyn has said that we will nationalize the British Railways, and that received a lot of support from the people. Similarly, in different countries, in New Zealand, in Australia, in Argentina, etc. In New Zealand, the government had to again renationalize after it was a failure. And in Argentina, around 70,000 people have lost their jobs in that. There were many stations were closed. The rural people, many common people, they have lost their affordable source of transport. So ultimately, the government had to again nationalize the railway. So this is the experience of the world. And it is not only the experience of the world, but even in our country. In Delhi Metro, the airport line, initially it was given to Reliance. Then after they ran it for some time, but because they could not manage, so they had to leave it, and ultimately DMRC has taken it. Now it is running. And in Mumbai, they are charging so much high fares, etc. So it is not for the common people that the railways will be run by the private companies. Similarly, in the freight charges also, the freight charges will be increased. Now the railways are giving for the passenger, despite the occasional increase in the fares, today Indian Railways is the cheapest mode of transport for the common people. And then the government is giving for 43% subsidy on the railway fares, and we are paying 57%. So privatization, no private company is going to give subsidies to the people. So they will charge the cost. Even if they charge the cost, even not the profits, then even then the railway fares will be almost doubled. So it is not for any interest of the people that the government is this thing privatizing railways. It is only for the corporates, for the private business. So this is one aspect. Second aspect is about the Make in India. The government is talking about self-reliance, making India and all these things. Large advertisement campaign is going on. But what is actually it doing? It is actually killing our productive abilities. Our workshops, our production units, they are not being given work. We have the capability to do that. Our production units have the capability to do that. Our ICF, they have produced the train 18, I think, which was later called the Vande Bharat Express. And then our Varanasi DLW, they have the capacity to produce diesel locomotives. And then others, other production units, they are producing. It's not that they don't have the capacity to produce. They are producing. But the government is not giving orders to our production units. Instead, they are giving orders to General Electrics or Alstom, etc., the foreign companies. And from there, they are importing. Despite the fact that if they are produced in our own country, it will be cheaper. The government also agrees that it will be cheaper. Whose money are they spending? It is the people's money who are the government is spending to import, and who will be benefited? It is the foreign companies who will be benefited. So that way, instead of utilizing our production capacities, our production units, coach factories, etc., they are giving orders to the other companies. And the second thing is that they say that the efficiency, the railways will become more efficient and world-class opportunities. Why today we are facing the problems? We know the trains are not on time. Yes, they are not on time. They are not kept so much clean, etc. But what is the reason? That we have to think. The government is not allotting adequate finances to the railways. There are adequate financial resources are not being allocated. And in terms of renewing the track, our track needs renewal. But for that, money is not being spent. It is estimated that every year around 4,500 kilometers of track has to be renewed. But that is not being done. Second, the signaling system, that has to be updated, upgraded, etc. That is not being done. But whenever there are any accidents, it is the drivers or the guards or the staff that are being blamed. Lakhs of vacancies are there, including in the safety category. Loco drivers, there are posts which are vacant, guards posts are vacant, station master posts are vacant. All the posts are vacant, but they are not filling up the posts, and the workers, the employees, they are made to work for continuously for 16 hours, 18 hours, more than 20 hours. So they are not being given leaves. So even there are instances where loco drivers have committed suicide because they could not get the leave. So these are the type of thing. It's not the we cannot blame the employees or the drivers or the railway staff. The main thing is that the government is not filling up the posts. There is no adequate rest, no time. They have to work long hours, and the government also is not renewing the tracks because of the bad track and bad signaling system. Actually, most of the accidents are happening, but the government is not providing the financial resources. And the Vivek Devrai committee, which has given its recommendations, they said that the railways, because if they want to sell the railways whole hog, nobody will come, because it's such a big establishment that nobody will come to take it as a whole. So the Vivek Devrai committee has recommended that it should be broken into pieces and then it should be sold off. So now the government, what is it doing? The government, initially they said the manufacturing units will be corporatized. Then our workshops, etc., they will be outsourced. Our outsourcing is being done. The works are not being given in our workshops. Then stations are being privatized. And the latest thing is that they have given that notice for asking for 109 pairs of stations, asking for inquiry for interest in bidding for 109 pairs of stations, that is 151 trains will run between these 109 pairs of stations, and these will be in most lucrative parts of the country, major stations. And these private trains, already we had the Tejas Express which was running, we have seen, and now these private trains, they will have Indian Railways drivers and guards, but all the other staff they will be employing, and they will have their own charges, they will have their own facilities, and they will be given preference at the stations in running. The government is assuring that for some time no other Indian Railways train will go after this private train, so that the passengers will prefer this train. So all the preferential treatment will be given to the private trains, and our Indian Railways, that will be neglected. They are saying now it is only 5% of the total trains, but this is the beginning. After that they will continue, and ultimately they are going to sale of the entire Indian Railways. And what will be the employment? Today we have already seen about the efficiency. We have seen, just now I told you about the international experiences. Trains were running late, accidents were happening. That is the international experience. We can't rule out that. We are seeing what type of care the private employers take for the safety of the staff or for the safety of the passengers. So many industrial accidents are taking place. In coal mines we have seen, in other manufacturing units we have seen, recently in Vizag we have seen, and I think 1 or 2 days back also again it happened in Vizag. So all these things, the private manufacturer, private companies, they are motivated by the profit interest, not by the safety or the workers, and they are most likely to sacrifice the interest of the workers or the employees as well as the passengers, and ultimately it will be a failure. And related to the employment generation, as I have already told, the employment generation, when the railways were privatized in Argentina, around 70,000 employees have lost their jobs. And now what is the situation in our country? Already lakhs of posts are vacant in the railways, in all the central government departments, in state government departments, in many places, but mainly in the railways also, including in the safety category. And now the government says that all the vacant posts should be abolished, they should be surrendered, and the posts which have been sanctioned but not yet filled up, they have to be reviewed whether it is necessary or not. So there is no employment generation for our youth. The Prime Minister said, assured, that I know the railways, I have been born in the railways from my childhood, from my infancy, I am associated with railways. You can be rest assured that it will not be privatized. All the people are misleading. But now what is happening? What is the employment for our youth? What is the employment for the other sections? And what will be the job loss of so many other who are dependent upon the employment surrounding railway stations? So there will be no employment generation, there will be no efficiency, and the main thing is that our resources, our national resources, they are to be handed over to the big corporates, domestic and foreign. And what is the stations? Stations handing over, it is not merely the stations. The land around the station will also be handed over to the private corporates who will manage the station, and they can utilize the land as per their wish. They will employ the staff, the existing staff, they will be transferred to other places, and the private companies, they can employ their own staff they can utilize the land surrounding the railways. Railways, we all know, has lot of land, so all this land also can be utilized by them for the real estate purposes, for commercial purposes, to make money. So from the railways also they will make money, from the use of land also they will make money. So ultimately what will happen, what is the intention of the government is to maximize the profits, and because today through production they are not able to get their profits because of the crisis, etc., by handing over these natural resources, land, etc., etc., also it is a type of expropriation of the resources of the labor also, and by the these big corporates. So this has to be stopped. CITU believes that this cannot be allowed to happen. Indian Railways is the lifeline of the country. Indian Railways is the lifeline of our economy, and Indian Railways serves the common people, poor people, and this cannot be allowed to be privatized. And this is not only something related to the employees only. The employees definitely will be affected, and the type of employment, whatever will be coming, it will not be permanent employment. Maybe it will be fixed term employment or contract employment, or trainees or apprentices will be employed in the production units, etc. So as we have already seen, all these things are happening in the railways, and now it will be further intensified. Almost permanent employment will be lost, and what will happen to our children? So it is not the question of only employees, it is the question of the people of the entire country. So as a people, we have to oppose. CITU believes that the entire country has to oppose the privatization and selling off of the railways, and we also appeal to the railway employees, irrespective of their affiliations, to come together and oppose this privatization move, because this will be killing. Railway employees have a history. Even before our independence, they have a history of fighting for their rights. They have a history of going on struggles on their own demands at the local level, at the national level. We have before us the historic railway strike in 1974. So like that, once again, we think that it is necessary for all the railway employees to come together and fight this privatization move. CITU has given a call for opposing privatization on 16th and 17th of this month. We have decided that we'll mobilize our resources, our CITU cadres, and we have appealed to all the mass organizations, all the patriotic people of the country, all the peasants and other sections of this country to come together and hold demonstrations either on 16th or 17th in front of the railway stations all over the country. So we are planning that. We request, we appeal, we urge upon all the railway employees also to join these demonstrations, and also to come together as railway unions and railway employees and be part of the Central Trade Union movement, the General Trade Union movement. We are struggling against the government policies. As I told earlier, all these policies, the privatization of railways is not isolated. The cutting down of DA is not isolated only for the railway employees. The NPS issue is not a question of only the railway employees. So all these issues are related to the working class, and similarly the labor law amendments. So all these issues, I don't want to go into the details, but all these issues are affecting the railway employees, and in addition they are impacting the entire working class of the country, and these are related to the policies being adopted by the government, and particularly the policies that are being pushed despite the lockout, despite the suffering of the people, despite the distress of the people. The government wants to push these policies during this period, so they have to be fought. If the government thinks that the people cannot come out, and so we can go ahead with whatever we want, I think that is not a correct understanding of this anger among the people. The working class has to come out. They can have to oppose, and if the working class comes out together, and the railway employees come out together to fight against these policies, definitely we can succeed. There have been examples, even during this period, during this lockdown period, there have been examples of the workers going on even strike. We have on 22nd May in Maharashtra, 22 factories, workers, they have gone on strike for 2 hours against the wage cuts, and they have been able to recover their wages. They have been able to achieve their demands. Similarly, in Vizag Steel, 14,000 contract workers, they have gone on 2-day strike, and they have been able to achieve their wage cut, reverse the decision to cut their wages. They have been able to restore their wages. And we have seen the historic strike of the coal workers. For 3 days, the entire coal workers movement, all the trade unions have come together and they have gone on strike, and the workers themselves have taken the initiative even in the lockdown period when the leadership could not go down below and campaign among the coal mines and the pits. But even then, there is such an anger that the coal workers have come together and they have a very successful strike they have conducted, and after that against commercial mining and privatization, now again they have decided to, on 18th August, the last day for the bidding, again they will go on strike, and in between they will go to the people, they will try to explain to the people, take the help of the peasants and agricultural workers, tribals, etc. They have picked up the 41 mines which are coal blocks which are being handed over, which are sought to be auctioned, and there they are trying to mobilize with the people's support to oppose this tooth and nail. So this is a period where we have to oppose the government. CITU has given a call to defy and resist. The entire trade union movement has given a call for non-cooperation. After the successful 3rd July protest day, entire trade union movement, including INTUC and HMS and all the trade union movement, almost have given the call for non-cooperation, defiance and resistance of the government's anti-worker, anti-national and anti-people policies. So now in this first phase, we have decided for a Jail Bharo movement on 9th August, all the trade unions together. We have decided, and then we will chalk out the non-cooperation movement on 18th of July. All the trade unions are meeting. The industrial federations also will meet, different industrial federations in different sectors, railways, coal, electricity, etc., etc., online meeting. And there the future action we are trying to chalk out, where privatization of railways also will be made a very big issue. Similarly, as the defense employees are also going on strike. They have decided on the strike ballot, more than 99% said that they have to go on strike. For strike they have voted. So the entire country is now coming together to resist these policies. They are understanding the true character of the policies, what the slogans that the government is giving, but what actually in practice that they are doing. Unless we understand the policies and come to fight, it is not possible to save the railways. But if we do come together, it is possible to save the Indian railways. It is possible to save the country, and it is possible to generate employment and to advance the country. So with this slogan of Save India, all the trade unions are launching Satyagraha and quoting of arrest on 9th August of this year. So ultimately, in conclusion, I request the entire trade union movement, all sections of the people, all sections of the toiling masses, progressive people and patriotic people of this country, and also all the railway men, irrespective of their affiliations, to come together and to resist and defy this privatization move of the Indian railways. Thank you.